what I fell in love with is selling, to be honest. I fell in love with the idea of the chase and of the game, right? This game that we all play as real estate agents is the game of attention. It's not a real estate game to me. It is, the real estate's there. Unless you're a developer or a contractor or a plumber, like the real estate is being built by somebody else. You can invest in deals, that's all fine, but that's not what we're here to talk about. Real estate is a piece of that game. And I am here to get as much attention in the game as possible. And the more attention you have, the more influence you have on sales. That's really, 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 really important. And I want to come back to that in a second, but I love sales. Actually, you know what? I love how you all sell in Australia. You know, when I first came to Australia and I was talking to all the different agents, and they were so amazed when they watched $1 Million Listing New York at how we price property. They're like, wait a minute. You let the seller pick the price. You, as the agent, then spend all the money on marketing, all the time and effort. You'll keep it on the market for 6 months, a year, 3 years of your life. You don't make anything. You get yelled at every day, and maybe it sells. And all you're trying to do is get some offer that's lower, and then you're going to try to bridge a gap with furniture or expenses or closing. Oh, terrible. And I remember standing there, and I think I was in Sydney. It's like, wait. That's not how you do it? I did not know that there was another way. Please explain to me. And I got walked through this amazing platform called the auction model that is mostly used in Australia, pretty singularly. And it blew my mind. So it's like, you know, that's a way that you can create a marketplace. Now, I know you have laws and rules now where you can't set a reserve price that is so far and away from what you can accept. And there's a lot of different ways to police your system. Otherwise, people could really, really, really abuse it. You know, because in my mind, I'm like, oh, $10 million property. I'll reserve $1 million. Let's get 1,000 people there and I'll bid it up to some sucker, right? Can't do that apparently. But I left Australia and I came back and I told myself, you know what? I love that model. I'm doing that in New York. So I had a townhouse actually at 337 West 87th Street that was listed initially at $16 million, sat on the market for a year. I then got the listing and priced it at 14. Sellers were brutal, so mean. Like they would call me on the phone and they'd ask me, Ryan, do me a favor. I know you're probably busy. How do you pronounce F-A-I-L? I remember that phone call so clearly. And I was like, how do I pronounce fail? Oh, that's how you pronounce it. I'm not failing. I'm doing everything I possibly can, Bob. And they were so tough. But we priced it then at 12, and they got to a point where they really needed to sell. And they said, listen, we must sell this house. $10 million is our number. You got to get us 10. Like everyone in New York City is looking between 5 and 15 million. Being priced at 12, it is so hard to find someone who's going to come through to make an offer. There's so much inventory. There's years and years of inventory sitting on the market in New York City back then and now because of this process in which we sell homes here. And so I said, you know what? I just came from this amazing place. It's called Australia. I don't know if you've ever heard of it or been there. They do this thing, and we're going to do it here. We're going to auction this house. And in New York, auction means bankruptcy, right? It means you suck. It means you couldn't do it. You had to lower the price. The bank is taking it back. Murder yourself. And I had to explain it to him how it's going to work and how we're going to do it and how we're going to create the game and how it's a game of attention and how the intention influences sales. And I convinced them and I said, you want 10 million? We need to set the reserve price at 6.5. Okay. Now I know that that's really far. Okay. But good thing auctions aren't a thing here and I could just do whatever I want. And so what I said was, I'm going to figure out how to get this to 10 million. We're going to price it at 6.5. And what it's going to do, first and foremost, is it's going to freeze the marketplace. We're going to be the only people doing it. And so in the MLS, which is, you know, the public listing system here, all these other houses out there between $7 and $20 million are all of a sudden going to see a house that was 16 million go down to 6.5. And we're going to tell people that we're going to have 1 week of previews. And then on Sunday, we're going to take the best bids. right? In our own way. And no one had any idea what we're doing. It was so weird and so crazy. And the sellers hated me because all of a sudden, all their friends and all the brokers that they had met over all the years started emailing them and saying, what the fuck are you doing? You lowered the price to 60, you idiot. What? Serhant brainwashed you. Don't believe what you see on TV. It's those teeth or whatever the hell they say. Like, and so they were so upset. The minute I did it, they're like, fix it, change it back. I'm like, I can't. We're in it now. Let's just see what happens. If we don't get a good price, I will raise the price back up. It's fine. We had, I want to say 82 people through in that week when we had averaged maybe one a month before that. The elevator in the townhouse broke. The fire department had to show up. People were stuck in line outside because for the first time in that market, and this was years ago, all of a sudden there was a prime property on the Upper West Side of New York City that was a deal. That was listed as a deal. And what worked well for me was that everybody got it. Everyone knew what I was doing. Everyone knew, especially when they saw everybody, that we weren't selling this for 6.5. I needed to create a market for it. And so I did. And we had a bunch of people who offered 5, 6, 6.5, 7. And one person was 8. And we had one person of those 82 who came to us and said, listen, I'm sure you're getting tons of offers, well, over all the prices. We love this house. We saw that it was listed for 16. It was just way too much for us, even at 12. So we never came and saw it before. But now we're so confused. And I don't know what's going on, but our number's 10. If we could get it for 10, we'd buy it for 10, but we're probably not going to get it. And we sold it for $10 million to those people.